Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Shots Fired Podcast DFW. We have some Dallas Cowboys breaking news today regarding defensive pass rush specialist Randy Gregory and his decision to make a U-turn on what was basically a handshake deal between he and the Cowboys. There's a lot of speculation as to who's in the wrong, whether it be Randy Gregory for making the U-turn, whether it be Jerry and Stephen Jones for not being able to get the deal done. There's been speculation that the Cowboys try to finagle some BS jargon into the contract at the very last minute that would have basically had Randy Gregory forfeit guaranteed money in the event of some type of fine or some kind of conduct that would be detrimental to the NFL or the team. And the understanding is at this point that is basically language that is agreed upon in the CBA per Mike Fisher. Mike Fisher says that that's language that, even though it's not in everybody's contract, because the rumor is, well, there's so many teams out there that don't include this type of language in player contracts, and that's fine. Doesn't have to be in the player's contract. It is implied. If it's not stated and written, it is implied per the collective bargaining agreement between the players and the owners that if this type of activity is found by a player, that they are able to be stripped of that money. They are forfeiting that money, that guaranteed money. This is the same exact language in the contract that Randy Gregory has previously signed. It is the same exact language that other players on the Dallas Cowboys team have signed. The only player, as a matter of fact, it was stated, the only player that doesn't have that type of language in his contract is Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Take that for what you will, but that just is what it is. Randy Gregory, I mean, I'm not here to judge his character and say, well, he's more of a liability, he's more of a risk. It is what it is. We knew what he was when we drafted him. We knew he liked marijuana. We took him anyway. We took a risk. People are out there saying, well, you took a risk on Randy. You supported Randy. You were there for Randy. The Cowboys did everything to show him they wanted him. They backed him when nobody else believed in him. He owes us that. Randy Gregory doesn't owe anybody anything. He owes himself and his family whatever he decides. Whatever's best, what he considers best for he and his family, that's what he owes. He doesn't owe the Cowboys anything because they were loyal to him. They were loyal to him, and he provided services in return. His contract was up. The Dallas Cowboys told him all this past year, you're a leader on this team. We believe in you. You are our number one priority. Come the offseason, we want a deal. We're going to get a deal. It's going to be taken care of. The offseason hits. We're worried about Tank. We're worried about Coop. We're worried about Lyle Collins. Don't worry. We got you. We got you, Randy. Don't worry about it. Okay. Time goes on. Then it's like, okay, well, let's get our money right. Let's figure that out first. Let us get our funds in order, and then we'll come back to you. We'll get that deal taken care of. Okay. That's fine. Randy's patient. He's waiting his turn. Then Jerry and Steven come out and they're like, well, let's do this. Everybody that's due for a contract, go out there, test the market, see what your true value is. If we want you, come back to us and we'll see if we'll match it or beat it, whatever. At that point, it's like, okay, well, Denver says they want me for this. Dallas says, okay, we'll match that. Early into Monday night, Tuesday morning, the deal's getting done. Jerry gets on the phone personally and says, hey, let's get this done. He throws his pitch to Randy. Randy says, you know what? I'm in on that. They go in, they submit the contract. Randy Gregory's agent comes back and says, hey, they're trying to throw in this language that wasn't in there before. And Randy's like, well, what is that? And either his agent is incompetent or he didn't explain to Randy that was in previous contracts. It's the same language. And so he's like, hey, they're trying to basically hold you in default for these reasons if you mess up. And Randy's like, bro, I'm done with it. Denver didn't put that in my contract. We'll roll with Denver. Denver didn't have to put it in the contract. It's implied through the CBA. So Randy says, to hell with the Cowboys. We'll go to the Broncos. Get your money. I'll never tell another man not to get his money. It's not my money. It's how he earns his living, wherever he feels comfortable. I don't understand the premise of Randy hurt the Cowboys by taking the Denver Broncos deal. We told him, go shop yourself and see what you're worth, and then we'll come back to you. They matched it. He didn't like how he was being treated. The contract language was the last straw that broke the camel's back, and he walked. We did it to ourselves. Now, I did hear that the Cowboys tried to go in and say, well, we can work on that. If we need to take the language out, we will. But by that point, Randy Gregory's so heated, he's like, to hell with all of it. He's out. He's out on that. And that's okay. I mean, like I said, that's his choice. He will be a Denver Bronco. He's taking the exact same deal that the Cowboys offered him. I believe for about $10 million more guaranteed with Denver. And now we got to look towards the future without a Randy Gregory. This goes into effect tomorrow, which is Wednesday, when they can sign these contracts. Von Miller on the horizon? Maybe. Bobby Wagner on the horizon? Maybe. We've got the money. What do they want to play for? I don't know. What are we willing to pay? I don't know. There is high interest from Von Miller to the Cowboys. He'd be interested, but it's like every time Von Miller gets free, he's linked to the Cowboys, and then what? He goes everywhere else. He doesn't come here. That's how a lot of people are, I think. A lot of free agents throw the Cowboys name out there and then get eventually where they want to be. I don't understand. There is no loyalty in this game. This is a business. If you are working for somebody and they tell you, hey, we don't think you're worth what you think you're worth, why don't you go try it somewhere else? And you go to a competitor and the competitor says, we'll pay you that. We'll pay you more than that. And you come back and you're like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and sign with a competitor. And they're like, whoa, we'll match it. At that point, you've seen that they waited for you to get an offer. They've basically said, okay, you set the market. They're willing to have you name your price. You named your price. Someone else gave you that money and said, we'll offer this to you. Why do you owe your current job anything? They weren't willing to give you a contract. They weren't willing to give you that money. They said, we dare you to find it somewhere else. And you did. And now they're like, oh, well, we can do that. Why didn't you offer me that in the first place? Why did it take me having to threaten to find it somewhere else for you to say, okay, well, we agree you're worth that? It's a business. If you can find more money at another company that you feel is doing you right, You're just going to say, well, I've been with this company for X amount of years. Let me, I don't think I should leave. Who's going to do that? Football is a sport. It's entertainment. But at the end of the day, it's a business. Just like everyone else that goes to work, works their 9 to 5. We earn a living a different way. But it's still a business. Randy Gregory made a business decision. He was emotional in that business decision. Jerry always says, don't let your money get mad. Jerry was livid from the rumors that were swirling around after he got on the phone and he closed the deal and thought, it's done. And then the language gets slipped in because, you know, a little copy paste error. Hey, we forgot to copy and paste that into the previous contract. From the previous contract to the new contract. Mike Fisher, Jane Slater have both come out and said, we have multiple Dallas Cowboys contracts. That language is in every contract we've looked at. Who's lying? You think the Cowboys are lying? Do you think Randy Gregory's agent fumbled the ball and was like, oh man, what do we do? What do we do? Be honest and tell him that language was in your last contract. But I think being jerked around, feeling underappreciated after being told you are a leader on this team, you are a top priority this offseason, and then having to basically be told, go shop yourself and we'll figure out what we'll do with you. Slap in the face to a man. Sometimes your pride gets in the way. Sometimes your emotions get a little high and you make decisions based on your emotions. And like I said, I'm not here to tell him he's right or wrong. I'm just here to tell you that's what happened. That's how everything shook out. Take this information that you're being given and do with it as you please. But that's what the issue comes down to. It's not Randy Gregory's fault. It's not the Cowboys' fault. Right there in that gray area is where all the shit hit the fan. And now do with it what you feel. You feel like, hey, so-and-so's wrong, so-and-so's wrong. That's fine. We're just letting you know what it is. The reality of what happened today. So with that being said, I wish Randy Gregory nothing but the best. Positive vibes only. Best of luck. And I hope we never have to see you play the Cowboys. But if you're a Cowboys fan, does this open the door to a possibility of something better? Like a Von Miller, which is what Randy Gregory aspires to be. He aspires to be a Von Miller type player. Why not get that guy? Why not get a Bobby Wagner? Why not get somebody like that? You've got the money. You're losing players. Cowboys, the meme with a guy with a stick poking. Cowboys do something, anything. See you in the next one, guys. Peace.